നമസ്തേ. ചില സാങ്കേതിക തകരാറുകൾ മൂലം ഈ ലെക്ചർ സീരീസ് തുടങ്ങുവാൻ അല്പം താമസിച്ചതിൽ എല്ലാവരോടും ക്ഷമ ചോദിക്കുന്നു. ഭാരതീയ അഭിഭാഷക പരിഷത്ത് സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ന്യായപ്രബോധൻ ലെക്ചർ സീരീസിൽ പ്രിവെൻഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്റർഫറൻസ് ഇൻ ഹിന്ദു ടെമ്പിൾസ് ആൻഡ് ലീഗൽ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് എന്ന വിഷയത്തെ അധികരിച്ച് ഇന്ന് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് കേരള ഹൈക്കോടതിയിലെ സീനിയർ അഭിഭാഷകനായിട്ടുള്ള അഡ്വക്കേറ്റ് ഗോവിന്ദ് കെ ഭരതൻ ആണ്. അദ്ദേഹം ഭാരതീയ വികാസ് പരിഷത്തിന്റെ ഫൗണ്ടർ പ്രസിഡന്റ് ആണ്. കൂടാതെ അഡ്വക്കേറ്റ് ടി വി അനന്തനും ഒന്നിച്ച് ഭാരതീയ അഭിഭാഷക പരിഷത്ത് സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിൽ വലിയ പങ്കുവഹിക്കുകയും അതിന്റെ ഫൗണ്ടർ പ്രസിഡന്റുമായിരുന്നു. അഡ്വക്കേറ്റ് ഗോവിന്ദ് കെ ഭരതൻ ശബരിമല കർമ്മസമിതി ചെയർമാനാണ്. എറണാകുളം സായി സെന്ററിന്റെ കൺവീനറുമാണ്. ഈ ലെക്ചർ സീരീസ് ഇൻ ഹിന്ദു ടെമ്പിൾസ് ആൻഡ് ലീഗൽ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് എന്ന വിഷയത്തെ അധികരിച്ച് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ വാക്കുകൾ നമുക്ക് ശ്രവിക്കാം.
The subject today is how to prevent government interference in the management of temples. Now, this is a matter which especially applies to Kerala for the reason that Kerala has become more secular than the amendment of secular into the constitution brought it. The whole story starts from how this concept of politics crept into the selection of members of the managing committee for the various temples. Now, it started from a very old case. It's referred to as the Bharathan Namboodiripad versus Cochin Devasam. It happened prior to the formation of Kerala. A full bench in that case decided that since there was no way of giving representation to the Hindus as such, said that what could be done was, anyway, you have elected your legislature members. And out of these, the Council of Ministers has also come. So let them do the job of electing and selecting members of the boards which manage all the temples in Kerala. Now, as far as Kerala is concerned, there's another striking fact that there are 5 acts in Kerala governing temples. There is the Madras Religious Charitable Endowment Act, which is known as HRNCE. There is the Travancore Cochin Hindu Religious Institutions Act, TCHRI. There is the Guruvayur Devasam Act exclusively for the Guruvayur Devasam. And there is the Kudal Manikam Devasam Act applicable to one particular temple, and now the Malabar Devasam Act also. In the first instance, having 5 acts for a temple, for a state, is itself wrong because the subject is the same, the concept is the same. Then why should we have 5 different acts? This has been stressed by the Supreme Court. Under these circumstances, the obvious logical thing to have done would have been to have one act governing the entire state of Kerala. Unfortunately, each of these acts have got politicians in their heart. As you know, members of the legislature who are elected and members of the legislature from whom the ministers are selected are the persons who nominate. In the case of Kerala, there has never been a Hindutva-oriented government ever since the state of Kerala has been formed. Perhaps in 1955, when Bharathan Namboodiripad case was heard and decided, there was no necessity for such an apprehension. But now what has happened is, every 5 years, the ministry changes. The first 5 years, if the Congress ruled, the Congress has never had a Hindutva aspect to it. It has got Hindu ministers and it has got Hindu members of the legislature, But the Congress and its allies, including the Muslim League, mind you, one of the almost permanent allies of the Congress, are all anti-Hindutva. As far as the left is concerned, they rule for the next 5 years. Then the Congress will come back. Now, five years terms have been in the hands of these two fronts. The leftist front is overtly and covertly against Hindutva. They believe that Hinduism is the curse of Kerala. And they try everything to destroy temples, to take their properties for themselves, to reach into the tills of the temples, and to take money for their so-called secular purposes. Now, very recently, two alarming things have happened. The chairman of the Guruvayur Devasam Board, who's an avowed member of the CPIM, took 5 crores out of the Guruvayur Devasam fund and gave it for relief after the COVID. Giving money to the COVID is not an important thing, but it should be according to the law. And the chairman of the Guruvayur Devasam is a lawyer by profession. He is expected to know these things. How it is that he decided to transcend the law and to take 5 crores from the Guruvayur Devasam fund and to give it for COVID relief cannot be explained in terms of any law for the moment in existence. The second alarming news is that they're going to allow party people or people of their choice to cultivate Devasam lands. Mind you, if the Devasam land is given for cultivation, all the complications involved in the Land Reforms Act, the right to tenancy, and everything else will come in. And when the communists are in power, they will allow only their people to take over temple land to cultivate. If the Congress government is in power, then all sorts of people will have their access to temple lands. Mind you, temple lands belong to the temple. There are 2 famous decisions which have held categorically. That is in the first Guruvayur Devasam Act, which was struck down by a 5-judge bench, and the second Guruvayur Devasam Act, which was later amended on a challenge made before the High Court before a 3-judge bench. The court has clearly held that the temple belongs to its denomination. In other words, anywhere in the world, any devotee can say, I am a devotee of Guruvayurappan, and he becomes member of the denomination of the Guruvayur temple. This applies to all other temples. Now, this concept that the temple belongs to the devotees immediately leads to the conclusion that temple properties cannot be used for any other person other than what the devotees decide that it should be used for. All the acts, the 5 acts which I mentioned before, have got specific clauses which say that temple property should not be touched except for the use of the temple. Each of these acts defines the role of the Devasam board administering the temple. And the Devasam board is given the right only to administer the temple, and that too according to ancient usage. Where is the ancient usage which enables a government or its politicians to take money out of the funds and to give it for these causes? Where is the provision in the Constitution under Article 26 which gives the denomination the right to manage its own affairs in the matter of its properties? Where is the right given to anybody to touch the assets of the temple and to give it for any other purpose? The matter has come up before the Supreme Court in several writ petitions and also in appeals. Perhaps the most remarkable is the one that came in. Subramania Swami took up the matter of the Chidambaram temple, and in that case, the court clearly said the right to administer does not mean the right to take over the temple. The right to administer means merely to look after the affairs of the temple in matters not connected with religion. In other words, there is no question of the temple being taken over by the secular state. After the 42nd Amendment, we have become secular. There again, another anomaly rises. If a state is secular, how can a Hindu minister or a Hindu member of the legislature, the word Hindu coming there, is basically against the concept of secularism? What gives these people the right to nominate persons on the boards which are managing these temples? The time has come for us to think. They are definitely attempting to destroy our temples. Macaulayism, as I would like to call it. Macaulay told Her Majesty the Queen that if you want to rule this country, there are 3 or 4 things you must do. One, you must destroy the language, which is Sanskrit. Secondly, you must destroy the culture, which binds the whole of India, in spite of its variegated aspects in the different parts of the country. And the third, you must destroy the religion. It was at that crucial time that Vivekananda came and brought us back into our culture and into our religion. A time like that has come now. The attempt of succeeding governments in this land is to grab temple wealth. Mind you, some of the richest temples in Kerala are in Kerala, in India are in Kerala. The Guruvayur temple, I really do not know how many zeros there are in the crores that it has as property. The Padmanabha Swami temple in Trivandrum, which was once the temple of the Maharajas of Travancore, was managed so beautifully and with the austerity of the lives of the Maharajas that the temple amassed wealth. There again, a rough estimate, they say, is now around 50,000 lakh crores of rupees belong to the temple. Now, this is what our politicians who are now dominating the boards of these temples are aiming at. Other than this, temples are always situated in large plots of land. The Ernakulam Shiva temple occupies almost 1.5 to 2 acres in the heart of Ernakulam, where the price of land goes up to 75 lakhs per cent. A cent is 1/100th of an acre. Now, this land they want. The step they are taking now is to utilize temple funds and to divert it for their own causes. It is time the Hindus of this country awoke to this great danger that is facing them. It is time the Hindus of this country took a decision that our temples will not be touched by any force which even faintly resembles secularism. Hindutva is the basis of not only our temples of this country. Supreme Court has held that Indian culture is basically Hindutva. Hindutva has nothing to do with the concept of Hindu. Hindutva denotes a culture that is developed over the centuries by the sages and the seers from whom this knowledge has come from eternity. And it is this Hindutva that should be the basis of the way we should operate our temples. Unfortunately, at the moment, this is not what is happening. And all these 5 acts have got 5 boards dominated by their own politicians who are literally fleecing our temples. The next logical question: what are you going to do about it? Fortunately, the answer is ready with us. Article 345 of the Constitution says that religion, religious affairs, and charitable affairs come under the concurrent list. You know, there are 3 lists: the concurrent list, the state list, and the central list. This comes under the concurrent list. Now, if there is a strong central act, the center must pass a strong act totally taking over all the aspects of administration of the temple and putting it in the hands of the devotees and the denomination to whom the temple belongs. If the central act comes, all these 5 acts will vanish. The central act will hold the field, and all other 5 acts will be just relegated to the dustbin. But the center must take up the stand. It must form a very, very strong administrative power to develop an act. And what is the structure of this act, you may ask? How are you going to structure this act? I have more or less thought about this very deeply and come to certain conclusions. If these conclusions sound rather shocking, then it is the only way in which we can draw the Hindu temple outside the morass. There should be one body for the whole of Kerala. If there is one body, it must consist of not politicians, but members of the judiciary. Just as in Bharathan Nambudiripad's case, they said, you elected your members and hence you have reposed your faith in them. We have decided that the judiciary will be the last word as far as the law of the country is concerned. Article 141 of the Constitution clearly says that a judicial pronouncement by the Supreme Court becomes the law of the land. So we can trust the judges in whose hands we, the people who gave ourselves this Constitution, have reposed so much of faith. So I would suggest that we need a strong central act, and under the central act there should be one central governing body for all the temples in the state. Now this one central governing body should have a legal forum to decide issues in which any issue affecting the temple can be argued as if it is being argued before a court. The selection of the managing committee in the state of Kerala should be done by a committee consisting of the Chief Justice of the High Court. If that is not possible in the name of secularism, a retired Chief Justice of the High Court, who should be a Hindu, and two other senior most retired judges of the Kerala High Court who are Hindus and who believe in God and temple worship. The great Chinmayanandaji said, the Hindu religion is the only religion in the world which swings between atheism, atheistic atheism, and theistic theism. So any person having a Hindu name is not a Hindu, especially in the matter of governance of Hindu temples, because there what matters is not only belief in God but also temple worship. So the members so nominated should be Hindus who believe in God and temple worship. And the selection of the members of the managing committee for temples in Kerala should be made by this body. The managing committee, as such, coming down to it, should consist of a retired judge of the Supreme Court who's a Hindu, or a retired judge of the High Court who's an expert in temple affairs. Not merely a judge who has dealt with taxation or with the constitution alone, he must have dealt with the Devaswam bench and familiar with Devaswam and its proceedings in Kerala. There should also be a person who's an expert in Vastu, because suddenly they may decide that this is not the place where the entrance of the temple should be. It should be somewhere else. The Vastu expert should be able to tell them in no uncertain terms that as far as the Vastu of this temple is concerned, there is no such question of altering anything in this temple other than strictly in accordance with Vastu. There must be an expert in astrology. Astrology is very, very important for temples. The time at which certain rituals have to be performed, the time when certain acts are to be done inside the sanctum sanctorum, and the general time when certain things should not be done in the temple is decided by the astrologist. And this astrologist is not somebody who, any old astrologist who's walking up and down, but one of the best astrologers that the state or the country has seen. There should be a reputed Hindu scholar in the field of the Shastras and the Agamas, and also a member from one of the renowned Tantri families in Kerala. Now, all the details of how this is going to be worked out, we leave to the ministry. If they have doubts, we will form a committee and we will clarify their doubts. But the fact remains that unless the center takes a strong stand, and now we are in a very much better position because the center can be persuaded to take a strong stand and to enact a central law. And under the central law, the law for Kerala, this will apply to every other state. The central law will automatically abrogate all the laws existing in the states regarding the governance of temples. And when this is done, the central law should specify for that particular state how the governing council should be formulated. And the same formula which I have spoken about earlier can be followed in each of these states. To my listeners, I have a very urgent request. We have slept for too long. The Hindu never lacks in bhakti. Yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam, tatra tatra krida mastaganjali, bhashpavari paripurna lojanam, marutim bhajata. They'll stop there. The very mention of the word Rama brings tears from the eyes of Maruti. The last word is Rakshasantakam. Maruti is not merely a devotee of Rama, from whose eyes streams of tears will fall at the very mention of the word Rama. But Maruti is Rakshasantakam. Hinduism in this country is today surrounded by Rakshasas. Every nation in this world is on the watch out, worried about India's growth. COVID has given that much of a blessing to India. People have started to think how they can withdraw the investments they have made in other countries and to invest this in India, because India represents a solid stream of sattvic, dharmic thought. And it is under these circumstances that people want to invest. We are going to see a major change in the world. Mind you, the thousands and thousands of years it took for human culture to develop and to create some of the richest nations in the world, America, Britain, Spain, Italy, China, all these wonderful, powerful nations took thousands of years to develop. And gradually, they took all the wealth from what they call the developing countries like us. And they developed themselves. COVID has done one great thing. These thousands of years were reduced to 3 months when the economies of these countries collapsed like a pack of cards. America has recorded a death rate of more than 1.5 lakhs. This is far more than what they have admitted. Britain is practically on its knees. It has always been. They have been getting away with a lot of bluster. Spain and Italy, who caused the greatest agony to the developing world, are also on the way out. Nobody wants to buy anything from China now because they say that in Wuhan, you are the cause of this pandemic. That is the state of China. What else remains but the Indian subcontinent and its culture? A time has come for us to stand up. A time has come for us to stand up and strongly say that we are Hindus. We believe in our temples. Mind you, with no disrespect to any religion, there's a fact to be remembered. A church is a holy place when people go there to worship. After they worship and they come out, it becomes a mere building. A mosque is also like that. People go there, they face towards Kaaba and they worship, and when they come out, it becomes a mere building. But a Hindu temple is not like that. The Hindu temple has an idol, or there is one temple which is unique, which does not have idols, which is Ochira. But normally an idol, either of Shiva or of Shakti or of Rama or of Krishna, in which the power of divinity is brought down and embodied by Shodasha Karmas. The power of divinity is evoked and brought down and embodied in these temples. So the temple is a living entity. The very construction of the temple is like the human body. The gopura constitute the feet, The 4 outer walls are the legs. As you come up, then you come to the Nalambalam, the Chuttambalam, which is the hands, because that is where everything to be done by the human hand, including the grinding of sandalwood paste, the cooking of the Naivedya, the tying of the garlands of flowers, all this is done in that 4-walled inner structure which stands for the human hands. You proceed beyond that, you come to the neck area. That is where the Brahmins sit. Brahmins, when I say Brahmins, Brahmatjnanevo Brahmanaha. He who has got knowledge of Brahma is the Brahmana. They sit there and they chant the Vedas. And in this chanting of the Vedas, the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is the head portion of the temple, and its idol gets charged. The Sanctum Sanctorum is where you have one entrance, but everything is two. There are 2 guards outside. On the side, there are 2 holes which stand for the ears. And if you put an axis right in the middle of your eyebrows and an axis this way, the point where they meet is the place where the idol is placed. So the whole temple represents the human body. It has got 9 entrances. A Mahakshetra has 9 entrances. The human body has 9 holes. This is the great specification, the exactitude with which a temple is built. That is why, if you get a small piece of a temple which has been ruined by either the Mughals or by Tipu or whoever, you can reconstruct the whole temple. Because it is so beautifully mathematically calculated. Every calculation of the temple is based upon the calculation of the human body. And it is this entity which the Hindus believe are guiding them and which the Hindus believe in implicitly. Ranganathananda, he once said, "You are overflowing with bhakti, everybody admits. What is the point? You have shed tears for centuries. What have you gained? Anybody who came to this country as a conqueror has looted your temples, has looted the Hindu cause and has carried away money. What have you done about it but going in front of your Lord and crying? Stop crying and do something about it. Convert your bhakti into Shakti. In that conversion lies the future of this country and its temples." It must be remembered, it's not an easy task. We must learn how to fight. We have never thought that religion was a field in which we would have to fight. Remember, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita is when Krishna tells a kneeling Arjuna who has thrown away the Gandiva, says, "Pick up your bow, stand up, and fight when you see adharma. Your battle is not against your uncles or your gurus. It is against the concept of adharma. Yatra partho dhanuddaraha, yatra yogeshwara Krishna, yatra partho dhanuddaraha." It is only when Partha picks up the Gandiva and stands ready to fight that Krishna's guidance will come to you. If you throw away the Gandiva and say, kneel on your knees and say that I am weak, I cannot fight these people, they are my gurus and they are my elders, you will get nowhere and the country will face destruction. This is the time for us to pick up the Gandiva and to guard our temples. The time has come for the Hindu to declare that he is a Hindu and the temple belongs to him, and the temple is his unique treasure and no government can interfere in it. State interference is only when the administration of the temple comes into being. When you have to administer the temple, administration of the temple can be entrusted to anybody, but not the religious aspect of the temple that must be firmly in the hands of the Hindus. I would conclude by saying that the time is right. We have to take a decision now. If we take this decision now, we cannot make a mistake. Before concluding, there are some questions which have come. I will reply to those questions. I'll read them out first. One of the viewers sends a question saying, what is the way out and to get rid of the Devasam plan, auction temple land for agricultural and auctioning temple artifacts? Now, a devotee gives an object to a temple, a lamp or some other object to the temple. That object to the temple is done as a ritual. It involves the ritualistic, religious aspect of the temple. No state government or secular authority has got the right to touch any of these articles. There was a move recently. They want to take all these lamps, very precious lamps, and the gifts that have been given by the devotees to the Lord, which are all part of rituals, mind you. They don't go and give the gift. The gift is given with a particular sankalpa. There's a move to take all this and sell it and to use the money for running the state. Who gave them the right to do this? The Central Act, when it is propounded, must prevent the state from touching anything that has got to do with the temple and its properties. The second is the right to property, to manage a property is a secular matter and not as per law. Now, temple lands have been taken away by the Land Reforms Act. But even to this day, mind you, to us, the Lord Guruvayurappan is the Lord of totality of creation. But in the eyes of the law, Guruvayurappan is a minor in the eyes of the law. Tirupati Bhagavan is a minor. Padmanabha Swami is a minor. And a minor's properties can be taken over at any time. The law of limitation does not exist. We can fight in a court of law. It has been done. I know at least 3 or 4 temples where certain devotees got together and fought in a court of law and took back the properties which had been taken over by people who thought that there will be no one to fight for this temple if we encroach upon these lands. A time has come when we must think about this. Groups must form. Kshetra Samrakshana Samitis, Kshetra Raksha Samitis. They must have a well-defined plan to locate the lands of the temple which have now in hands of people who have encroached upon it. Now, these people should get all the documents relating to the land. Documents are all easily available. It's not as if they are not there. With these documents, they must go to a court of law and recover the properties on the strength of title, paying court fee if necessary. And we must win with costs so that the court fee we paid will come back to us. The time has come when we should do this, recover the lands which we have lost, recover the property that has been taken from us, and also prevent anybody from taking over any more properties of the temple for any purpose. I hope I have made myself clear. I think we have come to the end of our time. I thank you for the patience. I'm not wearing a mask because this is a enclosed structure. There is nobody from outside coming in. I'm totally in quarantine. That's the reason why I'm not wearing a mask. So don't misunderstand me. I thank you for your patience and kindness. And I hope that my message goes straight to your heart so that you will stand to be a Hindu and you will stand in the cause of the Hindu temple. Jai Hind.